Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today is episode 3. That's awesome. I didn't know I'm a mess. Not gonna lie, this video is a little late. Later than I was hoping for. But I do believe it came out awesome. Alright, we're gonna be building a pipe organ today. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this video was a mess. But like I said, it's gonna come out awesome. I basically just took my bits box and just ran with the idea. I did not really do any planning, but I'm pretty sure you'll learn something really nice to do, and just take the idea and just run with it and make something completely 10 times better than what you're going to see at the end of this video. So, instead of me rambling like a complete idiot, we're gonna roll! Alright, first off, what we started with was some foam board from Dollar Tree. DM's got to use this a lot in his videos. We're just going to cut us out of shape here. Using boots of speed because this whole project was one big mess. And I honestly didn't know it was going to work or not, so I didn't really bother measuring. I did vague measurements, we'll just say that. But you can basically with the fun thing with D&D and stuff like that, when you're making stuff, you can just make all sorts of weird shapes. So long as it looks like the basic thing, what you're going for, then it's all good in the end. So long as you're happy with it, you know. Go for like a couple of, I believe I go for 2 trapezoid shapes here. Put a mini over there for scale. Back to the old drawing some lines here. Cut this out, that way we don't have this big old piece of board to deal with. Toss that aside. Alrighty. Keep on cutting out these sections. There will be some parts in the future of this video where it'll seem like there's some jump cuts. I was dealing with some battery life issues with this camera, but they've been fixed. You don't miss much. It's just like glue one part and some base coats. Alright, there's a bit of a excess bit here that I noticed, so I'm just going to chop that off. Alrighty. I think I'm pretty happy with that shape. Now we're just going to peel off this foam, peel off the other layer of paper. My words don't want to work right today. Alright, just keep on peeling off that paper. Alright, now that that's peeled off, we're going to start nicking through the paper, snicking through it. Just cutting it slightly, don't cut all the way through, that way you can have this kind of a hinging motion to make somewhat of a box. Alright, and then take your pencil or pen or whatever you prefer and start drawing some designs on there. Make the organ a little bit kind of ornate, not too much. Just enough. Drawing, crappily drawing through some foam. There we go. Now to fill in some of these little square areas. Some little random designs that I just kind of went with as I went along. I may do a follow-up to this video where I do a better version, but we'll see. Alright, gonna keep on drawing some little triangles. Alright, think it's looking good. Still moves. Alright. Now what you'll... Oh yeah, fade to black there. Alright, now we have some straws, like typical straws you get from like a fast food place. I just happen to have a bunch of these laying around, so these are what are going to be the bigger pipes. Measure them off to whatever length you need. Make sure that they're a little bit longer because sometimes when you cut these, they may not come out right. It's easy to cut off than it is to put it back. Cut it off at an angle instead of flat. Make it kind of like a ink quill kind of a tip. And that's going to be the top of the pipes. Alright.
I believe I make about 8 of these, so we're just going to speed through this part here. If they're not entirely perfect, the same height, then that's fine, because when you glue it to the foam board part, it will, you know, it'll just basically kind of hide the fact that they're all different lengths, just making sure they're all roughly the same thing. Keep snipping away here. Alright, now that we have our pipes, well, the first set of pipes, I'm going to set those to the side, and now we're going to do the same thing, about 8 or so, just like before, but with smaller straws. These will be the ones closer to the keyboard, or where the person plays the organ. I don't really know what you would call these things. I guess keyboard would be the right thing. Alright, I'm gonna try. I tried to cut these off at an angle, but it didn't quite work out as well. So, if you want a more fancier thing, I guess you should just do them one at a time, like you did the bigger straws. But I was impatient and tried to just fly through that part. Alright, gonna keep making some more here. Snip, snip. There we go. Slide those to the side there, clean the space for the next step. Now that we have our pipes cut out, I used super glue to do little droplets in between the straws to kind of hold them together so I could glue them together later. This somewhat worked, but it wasn't as sturdy as I had hoped, so I suggest just using some tape, and that'll hold them in place long enough for you to glue them in place. A couple of times off camera, these straws broke free from each other a little bit, so I had to use a little more super glue, but I edited that out because no one wants to see straws falling apart or me gluing my hand to the table again. Gluing some crap together. Alright, now we got a freeze there. Fade black. Alright, now that that's somewhat sturdy, and these are somewhat ready to roll, we're going to get ready to glue these together to the back of the thing. The back of the organ box, or whatever you call it, the wooden part, I guess you could say. Alright, just blob on some hot glue there, make sure it's enough to hit every straw, or else they'll start breaking free. Try to align it as good as you can. Hold it there, and there you go. Stands up here nicely. But we're going to... There's some spaces near the sides, and I use these wooden skewer things. I guess they're from like a manicure or a pedicure set. They had a point on the end, but I cut that off. These will be perfect just to fill in the gaps between the corners and the pipes. Plus, adds a little extra detail. Make it a little more fancy. I'm going to blob on some glue. Get a little on the pipe. That way it'll hold it securely. Just plop it in there, make sure it's at the right side. Turn the right way as well. Alright, now we're going to do the other side. Clean off some of that glue. And we're going to glue on the smaller pipes. There we go. Looking good, looking good. Now, I have a 3x3 square, just like the Black Magicraft tiles. I wanted the organ to be able to fit over a complete tile, because I had the idea from actually a Scooby-Doo episode where they play the organ and the walls close together. But in this version, like, you could hide like staircase or a trap door or something underneath the pipe organ, or even behind it, since considering how big it is. All right, now that that's glued together, fill in some extra glue to add some stability. Make sure it's all held in properly. Don't want it falling apart during the middle of the game. Alright. Secured up. Right, now we're going to make a piece to be where the keyboard is. I found this little, I think it's like a thing Walmart uses to put little kids' shoes on. But I like the way this plastic bit is, so we're going to cut these off. And we are going to make a part to fill in some space there. Oh god, demon! Oh, no wait, camera lid. Well, shenanigans and all, what can you do? Alrighty, back to the craft. Clean them up a little bit. Probably not going to use the knife, just might clean that up off camera. Yeah, here's one of the parts where the camera died on me. All you missed was basically me just gluing this bit on. Nothing much. Now we're going to fill in these little spaces here with these smaller pipes that I found. Didn't like the whole open space there. Alright, and we're going to just glue them in. A bit of hot glue, run it up the pipes a little bit so they'll all connect. Slide it in perfectly. Then we're going to do the other side. Glue it in, slide it in. There we go. Alright. Add a little extra glue here to stabilize it. Alright, now we're going to fill in the sides with, take a bottle cap like from a Pepsi bottle, but we're going to cut it in half. I'm going to one on each side, give it kind of a different look, and mainly because I was just running out of ideas at this point. Alright. Not too bad, not really much of a, kind of overlaps a little bit, but that's just fine. We're going to paint this up like wood later anyway, so. Alright, I'll pop that in there. Get all the wisps off. Alright, now we're going to work on the actual keyboards. We're going to fill in this space here. Got to fit in there just right. Take some of the extra foam board that we had laying around. Just going to cut a rectangular shape here. Get it as even as possible. Alright, a little more. A couple more. There we go. Just a little more. I was wrong. There we go. Now when you make two of these, you know, even off the edges. Make the second one, add a little extra depth. Right. Now we're going to glue them together. Nice and even. Now we're going to glue them in. Make sure to get the backing too, that way it doesn't just wobble back and forth. Right. Held in place. Nice and solid. Alright, now we're going to actually make the actual keys of the keyboard for the organ. Right, making sure it's the right size. Alright, now for this part, you're only going to want to do just like cut right down the middle if you can. I had to use this ruler to help me because I'm very bad at getting even lines and stuff. Just cut a little bit, not all the way through, only enough through the first layer of paper. Then we're just going to peel that paper off. Going to use some boots of speed because this one kind of gives me a bit of trouble. I have no fingernails and such, so. Alright. Now we're just going to take our X-Acto blade and we're just going to cut little tiny lines in. Space them out however you want for whatever type you're going for here. And that's going to be the keys. Speed that up a little. Then we're going to take a pencil or a ballpoint pen, whatever you want to use, and we're going to widen them out a little bit. There we go. Looking somewhat nice. Clean it up a little bit. Now we're going to glue that on. Pop it right in there. There we go. Add a little extra glue for stability. Not bad, not bad. My farmer there for scale. Alright, I'm going to a few little spots that I missed, make sure to define it. Right, here's another space where the batteries died on me, but all you missed was basically me just giving a painting the, I was just base coating the whole thing black, just typical black craft paint, and basically giving this starting the wood color with a burnt umber. Alright, now we're going to keep going, finishing where I left off, before my batteries died and I didn't even notice it. The wonders of YouTube. When everything fails right when you need it. Sadly, no matter how much editing you can do, you can never get all the bloopers out. But that's what makes life interesting. Make sure to get all the sides of this part that you want to be colored wood color. The dark places do. Alrighty. There we go. Alright, now this is not completely dry, but while we're drying, we're going to start focusing on the pipes. Alright, we're going to do some dry brushing with some gunmetal gray. You could use silver, but I felt that gunmetal gray would have made a better look. Use boots of speed to hurry this along here. All in all, I'd say this craft is not entirely difficult, but seeing as how this is the first time, I just kind of took the idea and ran with it and didn't really do any planning. It was a bit tricky, especially with the batteries and my camera keep dying. Just because they're rechargeable does not mean that they last. Alright, looking good. Now we're going to focus on this piece right here and these little side pieces to add to break up the dark a little bit. I'm going to use one of my favorite colors, a antique copper. Love this color. I use it a lot in my crafts. A lot of steampunk kind of stuff too. Alright, we're going to dry brush that on there. Alright, now we're going to focus on a little more. Alright, now we're going to focus on these side pieces. It's looking good so far. There we go. There. Here's where the final part where my camera died, I think. The only thing you missed was basically just simple painting stuff, nothing too fancy. Basically, I dry brushed lighter brown over the darker part. I think it was yeah, there it is, a coffee latte. And dry brushed it to make it look somewhat more like wood. And other than that, I basically did a pewter gray base coat on the floor around the pipe organ. Like I said, nothing too tricky. Alright, now we're going to take a timeless gray, and I'm going to use a bristle brush, kind of like a chip brush, and I'm just going to jab it around and create different effects of light. I don't have a sponge on hand. Apparently all of mine went missing. Alright. Gonna move along here. Gonna use a parchment color. It's an off-white. And gonna do the same thing with that. Dab that around. Alright. Now we're gonna use the same parchment color and we're gonna use it for the keys of the keyboard. I thought the off-white would make a pretty good color instead of just normal white. Finish that up. And after that is done, we'll move on to some stills of it, and we'll be done.
Alright everybody, that's how we made the pipe organ. Not too shabby for a bunch of crap, huh? Alright. If you'd like to see more things I've done, feel free to check me out on DeviantArt, Twitter, or Instagram. If you haven't checked out the Tabletop Crafters Guild, then you really need to check them out. There are some amazing people on there, and they make things that are like extremely better than anything that my maniacal butt can never come up with. Every time I go on there, they just blow my mind with the amount of stuff that they can come up with basically even less than I just showed you with this pipe organ. But like I said, get on down there and check them out. It's worth it. I guarantee you it's worth it. There's some amazing people on there. hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.